It's Tuesday. It's 1:07. I'm so honored to have you. I've been doing this show now going on 20 years, 15,000 interviews. I got to tell you, this is one of the most exciting shows I've ever done. I've got two great guests and a great producer. Aaron's with me all the time. Look, you can listen on hometownstation.com. You can go and download the app. It's a great app in the App Store, KHTS AM 1220. You know, we're an award-winning radio station. We won the best community radio station in the state of California. And today, or what's the show about? The Business of Life. That's the title of the show. Yeah, you can, I'm doing Facebook Live. So for those of you that are watching me on Facebook Live, listen to me. Get to a computer, go to hometownstation.com or download the app. This could be a game changer. And I'm going to get serious for a minute. This author, this book, the book is called Winning from Failing. Winning from Failing. And you know, I understand failing. I've done a lot of failing in my life. I've done a lot of winning. My last book, well, you can see if you're doing Facebook Live, Marilyn, can you get the book in there? My book is The Thinking Room. So I teach people how to think. That's what I do. I'm a business coach. But this author, Josh Seibert, that's his name, Josh Seibert, wrote a book about how to succeed in life at a very high level. Now, why would he be able to do something like this? Because, first of all, he was a submariner. He served in our United States Navy, and for me to be a submariner, to me that's like that's like the best thing you can do. I don't even know how he did it. I'm going to have him back just to talk about submarine. But today we're going to talk about his book, Winning from Failing. How do you win from failing? That's my first question, Josh. Welcome to Southern California. Welcome to KHTS, award-winning radio station here in Santa Clarita, California. How are you, pal?
I'm doing really good, Coach, and thank you very much for having me on the show. It's a delight to feel the warmth from Southern California all the way here in central North Carolina. 90
degrees and dry. We're going to be hot for the next few days, probably well over 100. Why did you write this book? You are obviously, I'm going to have you back and talk about your life in the submariner. There's one of the chapters I read in here, which I'll ask you about in a minute. Why did you write the book?
You know, it's a good question. Many people ask me that. But when you do something, as you know, for a lifetime, and I've been in the training and development business for a lifetime, when you do something that long, sometimes you're compelled to share the knowledge that you have gained over that lifetime. And I felt compelled to do that. I don't know that I'll ever do it again, because the experience of writing is something that is very unique to me, and I've learned a lot just through the exercise of doing that. But sharing my learning over a lifetime in this business of training and development of organizations across the nation, I was compelled to do it, so I did.
Well, I'm writing my fourth book, and you're right. It's a huge chore, but this book was well written. I can tell it's your voice in the book because I've talked to you a couple of times now. So let's get into it. Failing. What do you mean winning from failing?
Well, in the world of corporate development, and I think all the way through the learning that we happen to experience from childhood all the way through adulthood and beyond. In our life, we learn more from failing than we ever do from succeeding. We celebrate success. My expertise is in the line of training and development, specifically in the vertical of sales, sales management, leadership development. That's the vertical. So I work with corporations and organizations to develop learning culture and train and develop in that area. Well, throughout my life experience, and as we've talked about, Ron, yours as well, we experience a whole lot more learning from the failures that we've experienced over a lifetime than we have from the successes, because we tend to celebrate those successes more so and truncate the learning from those successes. Although there's a myriad of learning that can happen. I know you would agree with that. From succeeding in things that we do in life, we tend to learn more from failure. So winning from failing is about capturing the event of failure and actually causing it in a corporate learning culture to shift the paradigm from failure is not acceptable to let's embrace it, let's cause it early so that we don't repeat it and learn from that controlled failure.
We're interviewing one of the best guests I think I've had in a long time, because I'm going to learn so much from his book. I'm reading it right now, Winning from Failing. His name is Josh Seibert. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you own a business or you have kids or grandkids or you're a teacher or you want to try to achieve some success in your life, there's so much in this book. It's easy to read. So prior or after you went as a submariner, you took a job at Prudential. You tell the story. You take over a sales office, and you you take that sales office and you run it into the ground, and you're honest about it. And then chapter 5, which I love, you say attitude is not enough. So I'm going to read a little bit. Attitude is not enough. You say to make it onto the crew roster of a nuclear submarine, you have to have more than the right attitude. The right attitude helps. It's virtually important, but it's not enough. You have to be able to take over someone else's job in a heartbeat. But you go on to say, what do the submariners do differently than most of us in the real world do? Because what you have to say now, I think, could make a difference in somebody's life that's listening to the show called The Business of Life. I'm the coach, Coach Ron Tunick, and our wonderful guest, the author of the book, Winning from Failing, Josh Seibert. So what do the submariners know that the rest of us don't know?
It's what they experience, not just what they know. So that's a very good question. Certainly the education and the knowledge is very necessary to be on a crew of a United States Navy submarine. One must be qualified, and not all do. As you might imagine, it's very rigorous, the training and the qualification process, in that not all, it's a volunteer service only. And you're volunteering to go through hell. Basically, that's what you're doing to prepare yourself to participate and to become a crew member on a United States submarine. So yes, there's a lot of knowledge, a lot of things that you need to know. You're on a submarine, you're on a crew of 120 people, you're under the water for 3 months or more at a time, and if something fails, you must not just know what to do, but to do it without thinking. You've got to own the behaviors. So the psychological profile, as you might imagine, of a submarine sailor has to be scrutinized a lot and well to make sure that the attitudinal and the conceptual mind of that person is solid enough to be able to handle those crises and those things on that submarine, on that craft. And then we train and develop on the knowledge side, and then we put those two things together in the behavior. And what I mean by that is submarine sailors are constantly not only waiting and prepared for, but drilling constantly, time and time again. So all of that knowledge that one must know to be an effective member on a United States submarine, it has to be owned, such that that skill that's developed can be pulled off the shelf in an instant and be utilized effectively and efficiently, not even thinking about it. So they drill all the time. They're constantly behaving as if a fire would happen, as if flooding would happen, as if they have to pull the trigger and go to war. So those things happen all of the time. They're not just sitting in a chair waiting. They're constantly drilling and doing the behavior, so they don't have to think about it when it's called upon.
The author, Josh Seibert, the book, Winning from Failing. So my guess, I'm not guessing, I think I know, when you look at the great ones like Tiger Woods, Rafael Nadal, my favorite, LeBron James, even though they couldn't pull it off because the Warriors have 4 great players, and the LeBron and Tyree, that's about all they have. But in the real world, I don't think, and on page 29 you talk about, you repeat the entire process of simulation, practice, drilling, evaluation. I don't think, as the great ones know what to do, they know how to practice the right technique. So talk about practice, talk about drilling. How do we learn the right techniques? So the Navy, Aaron, your question was, you remember the question you asked me?
I think so. And Josh, thanks for joining us, man. You and your great mustache. I'm looking at a picture of Josh. Did you know Josh has a great mustache? Anyway, does
you like mustaches?
I appreciate it. Not that I like it, I appreciate it. But I just want to know, does anyone really choose to fail, or is it kind of just an inherent part of the growth process?
I don't know that anyone chooses to fail because we've been conditioned that failure is not acceptable. We all want success. Fair statement? So when we, as the individual, the learner, goes to pursue something, we want to achieve, we want to grow, we want the result on the back end, and that's always a positive. No one wants to or desires to fail, as it were, as it's defined in their mind. So how do we cause this failure? You are going to fail. If you're going to succeed, you're going to fail along the way. No one has ever achieved anything great playing it safe. Let's face it. All of the great achievers have failed along the way, whether they did it intentionally or not. They failed along the way. Most don't do that intentionally, or some do, but most don't do it intentionally. If you think about learning and growing and achieving, we learn a whole lot more from those experiences that are impactful, as it might be. And it's much more impactful when we fail. We tend to reflect upon failure. We don't want to repeat that failure. So we tend to reflect. We learn from that such that we don't experience that again. And it sets a boundary on that side. Success does as well. We know and learn and feel that success, and that's elating. I mean, that is very wonderful when we succeed at things. So do we want to fail? No. But if we're going to grow, we must accept that failure is a part of that growth, and we learn a lot from it. So fast forward, if you can put together a simulation of a failure without catastrophic event, and it's much more helpful. I tell those that we train and develop constantly, the management who has an accountability and responsibility in training and developing in an organization, that they have a responsibility to cause control failure, and I want their learners to fail quickly and early, but I don't want them to repeat that failure. So if we don't want to repeat the failure, we've got to cause it in a controlled environment and extract the learning from that so we can build those bridges across.
All right, you're listening to award-winning KHTS Radio. The show is called The Business of Life. I'm your host, Coach Ron Tunick. I am a business coach. I've been coaching businesses for 20 years. And this author, Josh Seibert, really caught my attention. First of all, it has a great title, Winning from Failing. But his concepts are a little unique. They're a little different. So let me go back to my question about Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Rafael Nadal. The great ones practice the right techniques. How do you know what the right techniques are?
From failing. Listen, every time you watch one of those, let's take golf for an example. That's a great analogy. If you put these golfers, we've all been to, or many of us have been to a golf tournament, if you've ever been to one and watched a golf tournament, all of the golfers will be on the range, and they're warming up prior to, and they go through the routine. And if you watch them closely, as I have, you'll see that they can masterfully do just about anything with any club and a golf ball. You put it in their hand in that controlled environment, and they can just about do anything there. So if they're all that good, and they are, when you line them up, they're pretty stinking good. When they're all that good, why don't they consistently win? Why don't they do that? Why doesn't everybody win all the time? Well, taking it from that controlled environment to the pressure of Sunday on Amen Corner in Augusta at the Masters changes the whole prospect. It changes the whole game. So how do we do that? How do we get to those pressure situations, under pressure, under fire, and to be able to execute when, on occasion, failure happens? Well, what you do see are the LeBron Jameses of the world, the Tiger Woods of the world, and those greats. They don't stop when failure or success happens. They go right back to the range, and they're swinging that club again. And if they've ever failed before, they'll cause that failure in that controlled environment, in the rain, on the range, in the trap, and they'll practice that failure again. They don't always practice with it teed up perfectly on the range. They practice in the rough. They practice in the bunker. They practice in places that they might find themselves on the golf course. So always find a way to control that failure and cause it so that you're prepared for it when it happens.
Wow, great answer. The author, Josh Seibert, the book, Winning from Failing. You're listening to The Business of Life, 20-plus years doing the show, over 15,000 interviews, hundreds of radio stations. So honored to meet Josh and talk about this. I want to skip ahead. We'll get back to golf. I'm going to have you on probably in another month because I am a golfer. I've won a lot, and I've lost a lot, and I've experienced great failure on the golf course. So when you come back and think about this, I want to talk about the nervous system, because in the real world and on the golf course, the nervous system is the difference between winning and losing. And if you can't manage your nervous system, maybe when you come back, I want you to think about this, because I want to jump to chapter 17 here in a minute, but practicing the right techniques, as you just said, over and over, and drilling like you did as a submariner. Wow, what discipline. So I'm going to save this question about discipline here in a minute, but I want to jump to, before we're running out of time here, before we lose you. Chapter 17, the title is Stepping Out of Drama. What does that mean? Is there drama? Is there drama in the world of failing or managing failing?
Well, certainly in management. There's something that is developed and talked about in the book, a psychologist by the name of Cartman that worked in transactional analysis with a Dr. Eric Byrne many, many years ago, and he studied under Eric Byrne, and you can look this up. I won't go through the process, but there's something called a drama triangle. And the drama triangle is it rotates between a victim, a persecutor, and a rescuer. And there are those that love to live in that triangle, especially if you're managing people, managing an organization, and managing change. People want to drag you into the drama triangle by being the victim. Oh, woe is me, you're making me do something, I'm uncomfortable doing this, and it's your fault anyway. The reason I'm not performing, now we've gone from, once again, the victim to the persecutor. It's not my fault, it's the company's fault, it's your fault. And then maybe, well, I'll save the day. I will not only go and participate, but I'll help you. And this drama triangle is an emotional triangle. It's where our child lives, in that triangle. There's no winning in that triangle. So the message here is stay out of that triangle. When you're managing people, when you're managing an organization and managing them through the change and the development of an organization, through learning, if we're developing people, we cannot get sucked in as a manager. As a coach, we can't be a part of their drama. Ron, you're a great coach. You can't be a part of my emotional trauma if you're going to help me with it. That's what that means.
No, I love it, but we all play the role of that triangle. I mean, right now, I have my coach is Alex Urbina, and he's helping me to learn about not being a victim. So we all struggle with the triangle. We all struggle with trying to figure out, because if you play the victim role, then you shut down, right?
Absolutely. It's easy to get in there because it's excuse-making, right? Victims are always making excuses, and they're stuck. They can't perform as long as we're wallowing in the excuses or the victim mindset. The only way to win is to not play.
Well, it's not my fault because I'm a Pisces, so I'm a sensitive male. So we have 2 minutes left. Hopefully, if our other guest doesn't call in, I can keep you longer. Coming up, if he calls in, another great guest. His book is called Identity Crisis. Josh, you should keep listening on hometownstation.com, because he talks about, he's a big-time branding guy for the pharmaceutical industry, so I have so much to share with him. But like you, he's smart, he's successful. So his book is The Identity Crisis, hopefully coming up here in a minute. Let me go back to the Tiger Woods, the LeBron James. How do you control, how do you manage, how do you practice the art of failing so that your nervous system, you can get it under control? Is that too big a question for you, Josh Seibert?
The how-to is a long journey, but there are three components to development, and one of them, the one that you're talking about, is the attitudinal competencies around it, and the confidence that one gains attitudinally. It's called self-esteem. In most of those professions that you've just named, in all of those professions, and especially in sales and management and leadership, it requires a competency of high self-esteem. And to develop that self-esteem, we've got to do the behaviors even though we don't like them. So we use a triangular effect called attitudes, behaviors, and technique. Everyone who wants to grow approaches new technique. How do I swing the club? How do I dunk the ball? How do I sell more effectively? How do I manage more effectively? It's the how-to. That's where everyone pursues. But the real learning comes in the behavior and attitudinal competencies that support that knowledge or that technique. Skills are easy.
All right, hold on. We got to take a break or the computer's going to shut us off. Our show brought to you by Marty's Flooring, Douglas Furniture, where the coach gets his furniture, and Valencia Country Club. If you've ever thought about joining a country club, this is the time to do it. Call over there. Tell them the coach sent you. Missy Carter runs their new member program. They have the deal of the century at Valencia Country Club. I'm not kidding. We'll be right back with our wonderful guest, Josh Seibert. The book, Winning from Failing.